After my negative reception on my previous Hotshot Racing video, I always wanted to make a follow-up. Now that I've played a good amount of it, I can discuss the game thoroughly. I'm not here to hate on the game. As someone who prefers arcade racers with vehicular combat, it's still a shame that the weapons were removed. However, Hotshot Racing as it stands now has the potential to be a really great arcade racer, yet it has multiple issues that bog down the experience. Let's take a look at the issues with Hotshot Racing. Before I discuss the problems, let's talk about what the game used to be. The game was originally known as Racing Apex and had weaponized vehicular combat. They knew many wouldn't like this, so they also had an option to turn off the weapons. After the game was revealed as Hotshot Racing, the reason given at the time on why the weapons and damage model was removed is that they wanted to focus on the core racing experience. This didn't make sense to me as those features were already implemented, so taking away those elements that were working just boggled my mind. However, it was revealed later on that they switched game engines during development. The game was originally designed in Unity, and then was switched to the Sumo engine once Curve Digital got involved. It's hard to say what exactly could have easily carried over from Unity to Sumo engine. However, it totally makes sense they would want to focus on the core racing experience rather than spending time re-implementing the weapons and damage model back. Yet, this ended up having very unintended consequences for the final product, which you'll see mentioned in some of the issues I talk about. One common complaint I saw was the amount of content at launch. A lot of the original game modes were scrapped, most likely due to their reliance on the weapons to make them function properly. This left the game with a lot less content than it was originally supposed to have. Due to this, the game had an anemic launch with only 4 tournaments and 4 game modes. Thankfully, it seems like we'll be getting additional free updates to add more content, with the newest Big Boss update adding in a new tournament, a new game mode, and 4 new tracks. Will we ever see the weaponized combat and game modes return? I don't believe so. If they want to bring back those weapons, the game might have to be re-rated from E for everyone to E10 or Teen. That may sound ridiculous at first, but seeing that games like Blur got an E10 rating, this could actually happen. Curve Digital is the publisher after all, so I'm sure they'd rather keep the E rating so they don't lose out on the potential younger audience that has parents who really take those ratings to heart. Mind you, what I'm saying is my own theory, and I do hope I am wrong because I still want the weaponized combat and game modes added back. While the tracks in Hotshot Racing look amazing, their design is very lacking. All the tracks are very flat and way more simple than other arcade racers I've played. I couldn't understand this at first, but then it hit me. These maps were originally designed with the vehicular combat in mind. Like they showed in their behind the scenes video, the maps that were originally made in Unity when the game had weapons were carried over to the new one in Sumo. In a weaponized combat racer, it's better to have more flat and less complex tracks for the weapons to be usable. With the weapons now gone, it draws a lot more attention to the basic map design. While I don't think they should change the tracks we have now, they should consider making more vertical and complex tracks for the future. Something just doesn't feel right with the vehicle handling in this game. I believe the issue mainly stems from the floaty driving physics. I noticed that when taking corners, my wheels would lift off the ground on relatively flat surfaces. This completely throws off the vehicle handling when it happens. While I feel like the vehicle handling and drifting mechanics itself needs to be worked on more, I would like to see how much better they would feel if the vehicles had way more downforce. Notice how the car in Burnout Revenge feels way more planted to the ground even when it's getting bashed around. Regarding the AI, they are way too combative. They hit, smash, and spin me like I'm playing a Burnout game. Seriously, I've played vehicular combat games that have less aggressive AI than this. It wouldn't be so bad if the collision physics were good, but they suck. Many times your car will lift off the ground when getting hit, causing the same vehicle handling problems I mentioned beforehand. Also, sometimes you don't get affected at all, and other times you are sent heading straight for a wall.
Having a car with a little bit more driftability definitely makes it easier. What the actual shit, man? Why do I get so wrecked when they touch me, man?
For a game that demands perfect precision and control from the player, its out-of-control AI and terrible collision physics makes the racing way more frustrating than it should be. Lastly, let's talk about the AI rubberbanding. Rather than being that hard-coded rubberbanding where the AI will increase their top speed to catch up, it seems to be more so an issue stemming from how the boost system works. The boost works by giving you a huge increase of speed when you fill up one of the bars. The only way to get boost is either from drifting or slipstreaming other cars. It seems pretty standard, but the problem is that when you pull out in front, you can't slipstream any cars, meaning you can only get boost from drifting. This leaves you vulnerable in long straights, as the AI behind you have been slipstreaming either you or each other to build up enough boost to continually pass you. This also means that if you fall way behind, it can be extremely hard to catch back up. The game essentially encourages you not to get to the front, but rather stay behind the leaders until the very end. This issue could easily be fixed by not giving boost from slipstreaming, but rather just giving enough of a speed boost to pass a player. Notice in this Ridge Racer footage, the player doesn't gain any boost from slipstreaming, but does get a good speed boost to pass the AI in front of him. Overall, Hotshot Racing is a mixed experience. To a certain extent, I have been enjoying the game. However, I cannot recommend it, as all these issues combine to make Hotshot Racing a wildly inconsistent and frustrating experience. With more updates planned in the future, I hope one day I can say Hotshot Racing feels perfect, but it's still got a long way to go. This has been Gamer Alex. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a nice day.